We live.
Cool. Hey, everyone. How's it going? Brian here. Just wanted to say thank you for taking a moment and your time this afternoon to join us for this webinar. I have a friend of mine, Henrik, here. He's from Denmark and a very knowledgeable SEO. Has taught me a lot of different things about the kind of the ins and outs of local marketing and local Google My Business stuff. So yeah, I'd like to introduce Henrik. And Henrik, tell us a little bit about yourself. Kind of your experience in this, and then also with Henrik, he's being in Denmark. He's about 14 days ahead of what we're seeing here in Colorado or even in the United States as far as the COVID-19 virus. So tell me a little bit about again your professional background here, Henrik, and then also a little bit about kind of your experiences, what you're seeing here before we jump into the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Well, I started around in SEO around 2011 and has been working different kinds aspects of SEO. And in 17, I dived into Google My Business because that was where I saw the light of Google My Businesses. And in January, February 2018, I described to Patrick from Ranking Factory that I was looking for a coder to code the software which I wanted to use in connection with the Google My Business. And then he said, well, let me do that for you. So we joined forces and created what we call the GMB Mega Poster, which is software stored by the Ranking Factory. We'll come back to that later.
Cool.
On the virus or the coronavirus, we were locked down 14 days ago. So we have been through a lot of what's presumably coming in the US. And we have seen all shops being closed down. People have really had problems in terms of what should the little hairdresser do, send her employees back home and will be without any income whatsoever. So, of course, the government has put in a lot of packages which is supporting the small or the entrepreneurs. And what have happened is that, of course, we have seen a shift towards online, i.e. e-commerce and things like that. People has been sent home, i.e. those who could work from home, they'll be working from home. The tuition is done by parents in cooperation with the teachers on a remote on the internet, which means there's a lot of consumption of the internet at the moment, which means also a huge opportunity for business if they do it properly. One thing I noticed on Sunday was there's mention of a big e-commerce food store company. They only sell online and they have distribution channels around the country. And we're a small nation. We have 5.8 million inhabitants. So it's presumably like Houston or something like that.
Right.
Inhabitants. But nevertheless, I went into this e-commerce store and they had produced what they call a queue system. So because the web server couldn't handle the volume that was coming in, they introduced a queue system. So when you enter the e-commerce store, you will be presented with a screen saying, Henrik, you are number 68,345 in the queue. Okay. It will take roughly 1 hour before we can serve you or you can get access to the website.
So here in the States, it sounds a lot like the Department of Motor Vehicles or the DMV, where you plan out your entire day to get one task done, because that's about all you're going to get through when when you're finally up and ready at the queue. So no, I mean, that's it.
But
Sounds
the essence of this, Brian, is
Mhm.
a company which has been struggling a little bit, fighting the Walmart type of supermarket chains.
Mhm.
They suddenly got focus.
Yep.
And a lot of people has expressed their interest saying, okay, this is the first time, but it's not the last time I'll be shopping online, which means they are moving the market share towards online, because the barrier before was elderly people say, well, it may be too difficult. Can I get my credit card inserted? Is it secure? And things like that. But that has vanished because they need to get some food supplies, and they needed them to get them delivered.
Perfect.
So that's a huge, huge opportunity if you do it correctly.
Perfect. So yeah, I think that gives us a really good background on kind of what we can expect over the next, being that you're 14 days ahead of us, kind of what we can expect moving forward into this. Is that I think that if we were to sum it all up, and if we ended the webinar right now, the one big takeaway from people is probably perhaps an obvious one, but adapt. We need to be looking at ways to adapt the business and kind of roll with the way that things are going, because even my assumption would be, even after the COVID-19 virus, a lot of these systems will still already be in place. And it doesn't mean that we should just necessarily abandon them, but it does give us a huge opportunity. And there are ways that we can potentially use this time to reposition, to really enhance the business and brand, and come out of this, with the mom and pop business. If they're being strategic about it, they can actually come out of this a bit stronger than before, as long as they're being strategic about it, that they're being smart about it, and really kind of cultivating these opportunities that have come up.
Instead of taking this situation as a big fear or whatever, take this opportunity to say, if I'm thinking out of the box, what can I do? And that's some of the things that we'll be covering a little bit later here in the show. So stay tuned.
Cool. So I would say, if we want, let's open it up for, let's open up the presentation. We can start diving right in here. I know that a lot of people, they may have other things to do. If not, hey, we're here, and we're more than happy to answer questions once the presentation's done. But let's dive in here. Let's actually show people, what we've kind of got worked up here, and some solutions and opportunities for local businesses to really enhance their brand and business while they're in this downtime.
Yeah, let's hit it.
Perfect. Cool. So it looks like everyone can kind of see my screen here. And what we want to do is we want to talk about it, Colorado Business Group webinar, and not just Colorado, but nationwide. It really, if you're tuning into this and you're in Utah or New York or Florida or Chicago or, Seattle or anywhere, we just want to let you know, like, there are opportunities out here. And we hope that whether you're using our methods or anyone else, that you are taking advantage of opportunities right now and really focusing on your brand and business at this time. So we'll jump right in here. So one of the first things here that obviously we want to get to the heart of is how to thrive, how to be proactive, how to be productive in this downtime. And kind of as Henrik was mentioning, it's really kind of, we need to be looking with a bit of foresight into, we're probably looking at least a 14-day, 30-day, possibly more, shutdown. And during that time, what is it that you as a business can potentially do? So anything that you would like to add to that, Henrik, or do we want to jump into the next slide here?
No, I think it's obvious that, as I said before, what kind of opportunity do you have as a business? And that's what we have to focus on, not the fear of losing income and things like that. We just have to be creative in creating alternative. Let me take another example from what happened. One of the, I think it's called gourmet restaurants or the high fancy restaurants.
Mhm.
They were closed down overnight, and they had a lot of stock supplies. So what they did was they actually tried to use it as a promotional stunt or whatever you call it.
Okay.
With they produced a lot of dishes and sent it out to one of the big hospitals to the nurses so that they could have an extraordinary meal in appreciation of what they're doing for all those who are now taken into intensive care and so on. It's just a simple sign of what you can do instead of saying, "Oh, what the heck should I do with all this?" They turn it into a positive event.
Okay. So one potential solution for everyone watching here would be, helping out and doing some philanthropy with this.
Yep.
Looking for the long-term benefit, building those relationships and making sure that people understand that you are the local business. So yeah, I think that's, if you haven't jotted that down, everyone, please make a note of that. Think philanthropy. Think about the things that you can do to help not just yourself, but everyone else in this situation here. So let's dive into the next one here. So as you were mentioning, Henrik, being that you're 14 days ahead of us, you when we were chatting earlier, you'd mentioned that you were supposed to be done at the end of the month or Denmark was supposed to be done with the lockdown at the end of the month, but that's now turning into an additional extended 14 days. Is that correct?
Yeah. And it might even be longer. The basic idea behind that strategy is the more they can keep us at home, then they can flatten the curve of the people coming to intensive care and needing ventilators, things like that. And that's the same problem all over the world. You can look at New York, which is facing huge problem with capacity in the hospital sector. And that's, what we want to avoid here. If you look at Spain, the death toll is increasing tremendously. And they will be swamped like Italy.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing that can happen.
Okay. So obviously we need to pivot. We need to, any local business at this current time, we need to be able to pivot. We need to be able to adapt, and we need to be able to modify, as a lot of businesses already have. I'm sure that most of the people here that are watching this video have already seen the flood of COVID-19 emails, whether or not you're public facing. I think everyone's kind of seen that flood of emails. And so the last thing we want to do here is just flood people with, like, we're all aware that COVID-19 is out there. We all know that it's changed our lives worldwide. But what can we do here? So because of the kind of the second point on this slide is because of the social distancing, both voluntary and mandatory. Obviously, people are staying home. They're watching webinars. They're watching YouTube. So what are some potential things that these kind of people can look at, gain value out of, and really connect with other people? So essentially connecting virtually, because we are limited in the physical meetup capacity. So tell me some of your thoughts on that, Henrik, as far as different, maybe some potential insights, or, if we want to dive into that later on in the presentation, we can do so as well. But tell me some insights, what your thoughts are on this.
Well, we know that people, they will consume a huge amount of internet, and YouTube is the, let's say, preferred channel at the moment. Maybe Instagram as well. But think about the opportunities you have if the amount of potential clients which is consuming YouTube, that will mean for your business in terms of branding yourself, or coming up with small pieces of informational videos, like the restaurant owner, which has been closed down. What could you do instead of? Well, in order to brand yourself, you could actually take film that you are doing a small recipe in the restaurant and say, this is how I'm doing this.
Mhm.
And people will try to follow. They might not be able to do it, but each time you're branding the restaurant in itself. And at the end of the video, you can say, well, when this is over, come down and have a free drink on the house or whatever, or they can get coupons. They can sell coupons, and which the people can stack up. There's a lot of opportunities.
Well, and to your point on having the chef create something in his house and having everyone, kind of follow along, just a thought on engagement. Why not have everyone else, kind of like okay, try and make this at home. It may not come out obviously chef quality, but for engagement purposes, why not share, hey, person sitting at home, I want to see your creations. So I see this also, this particular point as being a very, we're able to enhance engagement on this. And this is a great point, even after things kind of go back to life as normal, or as normal as it can be. But having that kind of engagement where you're reaching out to people and then getting your existing clients, customers, things like that, have them show you, in really cultivating that sense of community, that sense of engagement with there. So
yeah, or that them upload small videos of their creation in a YouTube comment thread, or invite them down to the restaurant afterwards and say, come down and I'll show you how it should look like, and how it should taste.
There's so many opportunities here. Really, there are. Hosting like a poll or something like that. Hey, anyone that obviously didn't get it right on this, I show you how to make a dish, you try and make it, show me what came up. Maybe the best and the worst gets a free meal on the house, once everything kind of settles down. So definitely opportunities here. Another opportunity that I want to point out here, and we have this on the slide, is that the idea of advertising. And for a lot of people that don't understand this, Google ads, Facebook ads, pretty much anywhere that you're dealing with pay-per-click advertising is an auction. And obviously the more surplus, or the more availability that people have within, or the more availability there is within a particular ad space, the cheaper the ads actually get. So in a traditionally when we would talk pay-per-click marketing or search engine marketing 6 months ago, if you went into a very competitive niche, you could be paying, not just a couple bucks. I mean, $20, $30, $100 per click, depending on how competitive the particular niche was. And I see this next point here as being an incredible opportunity for a lot of businesses that if they can't afford to spend a little bit of ad spend, that this could potentially be a very effective place for them to just stay in front of their crowd, stay in front of people that may potentially be looking.
If you look at it, Brian, we know that when there's uncertainty, the first thing that businesses normally do is cut down on advertising.
Absolutely.
Because there's an expense that you can cut immediately, which means that prices will go down. We have already seen in the US that the cost of acquisition of a lead, maybe in certain niches, has dropped from $5 to, let's say, $2.53 or something like that. So that's just confirmed that already now the prices are going down.
Yeah. Perfect.
How can a business leverage on that? So if you do your targeting correctly, you can actually get cheap, let's say, display ads, video ads, where you get maybe down to 2 cents or 2.5 cents per view.
Who knows? Ideally, Facebook and Google may get it down to the point where they're almost nothing, like you're saying, 2 cents. I think that opportunity is definitely something that people can also look at. So, I just want to quickly, before we move on, throw it out to anyone that if you're in the Facebook group or in the YouTube stream in the comments, if you have any questions on what we're describing, or if you're needing any help with this, definitely reach out to us. We're here, we're kind of all in this together. So if you need quick pointers, we're happy to give those. If you're actually needing people to do a deeper dive, we can discuss that as a conversation as well. So let's keep moving on here. You mentioned, Henrik, that there were a number of industries that will get hurt, and really that have to kind of pivot and modify their tactics if they want to survive. And that just goes without question. Looking here at the list that you have worked up here, obviously live events, gyms, martial arts classes, dance studios, any of these kinds of businesses, they're feeling the pain of the COVID-19 virus, because these are traditionally places that you don't just go in and go out. I mean, these are places that you would actually attend an event or a gathering. And clearly, I mean, since we're not able to do that, that just like kind of cuts their business off at the knees. What are some recommendations that you would say also for some of these type of businesses that, obviously we talked about video, we've talked about paid ads. Are there any other things, and kind of a baited question a little bit, but I know we'll get into Google My Business. Are there any other things that someone should really be looking at this point?
No, if you're talking about this segment where you say talking about travel, well, if you can't sell a package to a certain place, you could warm up potential clients, i.e. you could have videos, informational video about a certain destination. So small videos which will engage with the potential client. And you have to think about that as soon as you get somebody to watch a video, let's say 5%, 10%, or 25% on either Facebook or YouTube, they become an asset for you, because you have an invisible list,
right?
Which means you have an audience, which you can retarget later. So the trick here is to get enticing small videos. It doesn't need to be long videos, 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes, whatever you want. But as soon as they start consuming that video, they will get retargets. So you're creating an asset on Facebook, or you're creating an asset on YouTube, which you can then retarget with content again.
And I would point out that retargeting also has to be set up. That's not something that, especially if you're doing like Facebook ads on your specific website, that is something that does need to get set up.
Of course, it's not just a push button, but
exactly. Just want to make that clear for everyone that may be watching this.
The basic strategy is that you will have to set up proper campaigns, and we will come back to that later on. But we have some good advice how you can do that. But as I said, the basic idea about this is if you can have people watching just a part of your video for 1 cent or 2 cents, that's a partial acquisition.
Yeah, and that's a really low cost to technically keep your doors open, if you want to call it that. It's still providing search engines with signals that you're still out there, you're still, you haven't gone anywhere. But because the traffic is kind of dried up, so to speak, it still does provide some search engine signals. So we talked a little bit about this, again, informational videos, and then marketing assets for the brands. Now, this can go back to just good search engine marketing, search engine optimization, or social media marketing assets. I mean, it could be like you're saying, the video of the chef who's showing someone how to make a particular dish, or the painter that's like, hey, look at this particular color palette. It doesn't have to be anything to the business owner. It may seem like these are kind of just trivial things that you would do day in and day out. But for the average consumer, it seems like this is a really great time to kind of give that VIP look into your business, or even potentially open people's eyes to the awareness that they didn't even know was there. So I think that both of those are fantastic ideas.
Yeah. The shop selling paint or whatever,
Mhm.
if you take a small video and film yourself or the shop or whatever, and talk about color scheme, why you should do this, why and that, explain to the video or the camera what you normally will explain to a customer when he comes into a shop and asking you for something. All those questions that you're getting on a daily basis in the shop, put them up on your channel. It's branding, it's value for you. And each time the video is viewed on YouTube or on Facebook, you're branding yourself towards, you're priming that brain to come back to you when they need some painting or what it could be.
Awesome.
The gym could take the personal trainer, the owner could go in and go through the machines, machine by machine, one day one machine, the next day one other machine, and then make some exercises that you could do at home, things like that. So you educate people and you motivate people to do exercises.
Awesome. And so again, I think this kind of circles back to initially what we had initially talked about here, which is use this time to build your brand assets. Yes, we can reach out to people, but when we come out of this too, now you're going to have a ton of FAQ kind of videos, assets, properties, things like this that you can now use again in your business as it moves on. So just thinking not just now, but also a month down the line here. So
stacking them on your website as well. So you're building up a big, huge video FAQ.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about the free advertising methods that we have out there. So we know obviously there are some paid ads, AdWords, YouTube display ads, Facebook ads, Twitter ads, Pinterest ads, if we want to go that far even. But tell me about the free advertising here. So obviously there are, let's talk a little bit about this. Traditionally, search engine optimization has been all about your free organic listings. Now, that has kind of been modified the way that Google's adjusted their SERP or their search engine results page. What else can businesses do here? I mean, I'm seeing there's a ton of different places that you're recommending that people could potentially go and advertise on.
Most, if we're talking about the free advertising, which means that if you can get your website on page one for different kinds of search terms, that's obvious what everybody is focusing on to get one of the 10 slots on the organic search. But if you think about it, Google has what they call Google My Business. Google My Business, we'll come back to it a little bit later, but that's theory, a database in Google about your business and the information about your business. The more up to date you can make that, the better off you are.
Awesome.
Bing Places is the same, not so advanced as Google My Business. And there's some small tricks how to easily get into Bing Places. You have the Bing search engine. It's the same as Google search, but with maybe less traffic. Then you have the second largest YouTube search, search engine, YouTube.
Which is also owned by Google.
Which is also owned by Google, but it's the second largest search engine. And young people, they prefer to go to YouTube and search rather than to go to Google. Strange enough.
Awesome. And the how-to searches and all of that. I mean, that is what I personally find myself using a lot of, are like either how-tos or like basic troubleshooting. So again, making useful content for people that, that we as business owners, or that a small business owner may actually take for granted. That seems like a fantastic way to do it.
You have heard about examples that's young people who should make a research paper. Mm-hmm. They have gone to first YouTube.
Yep.
Then they go to Google, then go back to YouTube.
Yep.
And do that 2 or 3 times. And then they have made research.
Absolutely.
And
cool.
Instagram or Snap, what was the TikTok
Snapchat.
or whatever?
TikTok.
Snapchat.
Yeah.
Those kinds are, very visual oriented.
Yep.
And if you lucky, you can get a huge following, and you can really get something going.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pinterest is, primarily women that are looking mm-hmm. for seeing pictures of how to do this and that, how to get rid of the clutter, how to do this, how fashion and things like that.
It's a great bookmarking site. I mean, it's just, if you're interested in building your brand based on even your own bookmarks and your own web properties, I can definitely see how that could bode in their favor. Whether it's a culinary expert, a chef, or auto mechanic, you can start bookmarking any of your existing properties, and it's just from an SEO perspective. I actually like
from an SEO perspective, Brian. Then you will definitely want to give signals to Google that mm-hmm. you're a brand and you are known around the internet, and that's why we are building what we called Webpoint 2 mm-hmm. rings, as such, branded rings. So you have a lot of properties where you link back to your own website and to other properties. So you have an intellect system that makes Google aware of you out there.
Perfect. So let's
the last one.
Oh,
Facebook.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There you
go. Free. That will be in quotation mark. When Facebook started, you could make a post and it will went out to all your friends or those who have followed your fan page or whatever. But today the reach is not that huge. Mm-hmm. And that's why, for instance, we have made this Facebook group mm-hmm. because when people join a group, they get notification of posts within the group.
Right.
So rather than doing a fan page, it might be a good idea maybe to look into having an open group mm-hmm. where people can join easily. Yep. And that reminded me that I have forgotten to approve 6 who were waiting here. So that hopefully
they'll get the video. They'll get the video.
They have joined now, and you can see the replay.
Awesome. But it seems like Facebook really wants people to move towards groups anyway. I've even seen some ads that they've been pushing out, both on TV as well as on Facebook, and it seems like that they're really wanting to see people create these kind of niche groups in order to cultivate a community behind it, as opposed to just saying, "Hey, here's my page." It seems like the page itself, they're kind of like pushing down or making not as visible, we'll say. And then any of the groups, that's where you actually get into the actual, like, here's what's going on with my business. Here's the kind of the VIP treatment or the more community type engagement.
I will tell you a funny story. For a few years ago, from 2007 mm-hmm. to 2012, I was living in Poland, in Warsaw, and I couldn't speak Polish. And I made an experiment. So there's these small cartoon figures called Smurfs or Smurfs.
Yeah.
I made a page called Smurfs, or Smurfy in Polish. I couldn't communicate with the children, so I just posted
Okay.
some pictures and some videos up there. And today it still gets traffic, and it
Okay.
has around 4,000 followers.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I did the same for supercars or for cars. And that's, I don't know, I haven't checked lately, but I think the last time I saw it has 7,000 followers on that page, and I haven't posted in 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
it's quite funny. So
That's awesome.
yes, Facebook can work, but normally you have to pay to get reach.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, and that's kind of why I guess in this next slide, one of the things we wanted to really dive into is Google My Business and how we can leverage Google My Business to, to really help at a low cost. At the very least, if a local business doesn't have their Google My Business set up, this is probably one of the first steps that they need to do in addition to setting up the Facebook page, kind of the brand assets or brand signals showing that, hey, we're actually not just in one place, we're across the board. So let's talk a little bit about that, the setup, what that entails, what that looks like for local businesses. And I know that we'll talk about this in another slide, but Google My Business is doing a lot of changes in light of the COVID-19 virus.
Yeah.
So
Brian, could you take slide number 7?
Yep. Yep. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Google My Business is a central storage of your company's information on Google. And what happens is that the information will be shown in search in the knowledge panel, which you can see on the right side, which means that the knowledge card for your business will come up with the information. And maybe if you have posted to your Google My Business, we'll come back to that, you will see posts and images on the knowledge panel as well. It will also have that information available in Maps search. And in Maps, not many people are searching directly in Maps, but they will, when they're doing Google search, you will see the tree pack coming up.
Okay.
And the tree pack has a tremendous amount of clicks. So if your business can be in the top 3 of those, then you are getting a lot of traffic.
Right.
And when you look at the business dashboard, you also have access to one-page business websites.
Yep.
Which is a free website from Google. That's one we have on the left side. So what Google allows you to do is to post news, 300 words, small articles. They allow you to post events. So if you have an event, you can post that when it starts or when it's finished and things like that. And they allow you to post offers. And then they allow you to highlight or list all your services. So when people are looking at the knowledge panel, then they might have a listing of the services in the knowledge panel. And what's more interesting is they also allowed you to list your products. When you search on Google, you sometimes see there's this product catalog above the tree pack or in the knowledge panel. And that's, free advertising for you.
Yeah.
And the more specific you can be, the better images that you have, the better. Those posts, which you're doing in the dashboard, which is in the middle of the presentation here, they will go out and be visible in your knowledge panel for 7 days.
Yep.
And they will be visible in your website for the 9 last posts. they used to show them all, but they only show 9 posts.
Yeah.
But we have some techniques where we can grab all the links from the post and use them elsewhere. And
Perfect.
the rings I was talking about before, we normally pump them out into those rings to get more juice back to your properties, either your money side or to your maps listing.
Perfect. So there are definitely some techniques that we can look at here in order to kind of boost that up. And the way I like kind of thinking about these is they're almost like mini blog posts.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's.
So you can say, even though that you have a one pager, each post will act as a inner page to that one pager, which means that's a mini website.
Perfect.
There'll be dynamic website.
Perfect. Cool. Let's jump right into here. So this is kind of, it looks like what you were kind of describing as far as the overall dashboard on
that's the statistics from one of the GMBs.
Okay.
And what you should notice here is that the company's website is not on page 1 of Google when you search organic. But if you look into the statistics, you can see in a 28 days period that had 2,330 views. They were shown in maps only 207 times, but in normal search, i.e. the knowledge panel, 2,120. Maybe the tree pack was not shown, and that's the huge difference there. But if you look at the actions taken on the knowledge panel, which is 2.3, that's actually quite good, which means that people must have clicked to the website or they have asked for directions in. So that's one of the benefits.
Perfect. Well, I am going to have to briefly pause here. I know we're going live here, and this is unprofessional as hell, but dealing with COVID-19 and people here. My daughter is screaming here. I'm actually going to bring her in and just bear with me. I understand this is like, unprecedented times, man. Bear with me 1 second. We'll dive right into here into Google registrations, and let's, if you want, let's start talking already about like what it takes to, why you would want to get registered, the Q&As, and obviously these are actually restrictions that they're currently doing, not registrations. It looks like, obviously reviews are being restricted. Questions and answers, which normally people would be able to do, those are all being restricted. And then also I've noticed some of the edits, it's taking them forever to push them through.
Yeah.
So,
but let me go and pick your daughter and I'll talk a little bit about it. So generally the steps to get into Google is to get your business verified, which means you had to go through a procedure where you will insert all your information into Google, and then you will you normally get a postcard sent, and that will give you a verification code, and that verification code you will insert, and then your business will become live on Google. One of the things that you have to think about is to optimize your Google My Business at the max before you send that verification code, because Google has changed their behavior and they normally suspend your business, even though that you just got the verification code. You can risk getting your GMB suspended. And the reason for that is that the quality guidelines has not been fulfilled, let's just say. So you have to make sure that it's optimized to the max, and we can help you with that. And then when that's live, Then you start on your posting, you upload images from your office, the team members, exterior, when you're out on work, if you go to see clients, or from the shop in the day-to-day business. And then you should stimulate your clients to upload images when they're in the shop. Unfortunately, Google has been a little bit more restrictive as to approve those new photos, but you shouldn't neglect it. And as I said before, optimize your product range within the GMB, the services that you're offering, and there's a special methodology to get the max out of that. But that's some of the things that you should definitely look at.
Really filling out your entire profile file as much as possible.
Yep.
That way when you actually do send in the verification, it's everything is squared away. The verification is, once you get that back from Google, you really don't have to touch it anymore, with the exception of the posts.
You could from time to time need to change something, and that's where it becomes a little bit tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you change address, for example, and you change the address, you might risk that Google say, well, it needs a verification, i.e. you have to go and get the code again, because they have become more picky about verifications as there's been a lot of lead generation GMBs put up, and people have tried to circumvent the verification process. And which means there's a lot of spam GMBs out there.
Right. So play it by the rules, and you normally don't have issues. So right on. So two tools here that we'll talk a little bit about, and then I definitely want to make to thank everyone for showing up at the webinar here, and let's dive into these two tools here. So obviously the very first one is the Google My Business dashboard. Now that is a free tool. And this is where you're going to go to initially get your business set up. So if you need assistance with that, Henrik or myself would be more than happy to kind of give you some resources, guide you through that. But really, this is something that any local business, if you don't already have one, you should. This is probably one of the easiest ways to get, everyone wants to get on the first page of Google. And for a knowledge panel and for a local business, this is, or for your brand at the very least, this is the best and one of the most effective ways to really kind of lock in your brand is making sure that you have that Google My Business dashboard set up. So tell us a little bit about the GMB poster here, because I know that you initially mentioned that.
One thing which people should be aware of, we're talking about the 3-pack.
Yep.
And everybody in the SEO world is saying, oh, we can rank you in the 3-pack. That's the most important thing. What we have discovered is that, especially on mobile, Google will from time to time serve your knowledge panel in the mobile searches, which means that your business is occupying the whole real estate of a mobile phone. And that's what proved the big amount of views on your Google My Business Insight, even though that you're not in the 3-pack. And why should Google show your knowledge panel even though that you're not in 3-pack? Because you're putting up valuable information about your business. Let's say you post regularly events because you have a few events, you post offers, you have nice product pictures that you upload, or you have regular news that you post. A lot of post on the GMB is more or less spam post, which means that SEOs are trying to just grab some content and then they plaster it out and then they repost it each 31 days for 2 or 3 years, and then they say, okay, then we have regular information posted. But with the BERT algorithm out, you're trying to fool the AI. So instead feed the AI
Right.
and get rewarded.
Feed it with content that, that's building your brand, not necessarily just kicking stuff out. And so one of the things about the GMB Mega Posters, I have used the tool, is it's really time management. It's efficiency. So while you can't, you can post a bunch of or pre-queue a bunch of posts, I see that really as kind of a time management tool in order to create your content, really build out your entire, what you want to be talking about over the next week or 2 weeks or however long you want. And then it's kind of you set it in for you let it run, it posts your content, and you can be off working on new videos, new assets, new things like that. So it becomes very effective there.
Yeah. I will just show my screen here for a second. This is the interface of the actual poster. So what you have here is that you can post or make the post, which you normally can on the GMB dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
But the benefits of using this one is that you can silo your post, which means you can create small thematic relevant themes within your Google My Business. So that's what I'm talking about when you're feeding the algorithm, is that if you structure post, which is actually chasing linked, so you actually start posting news about a certain area, then you can have silos where you define the silo name, and here it will automatically take the last post that you have and link to that. And that's one of the benefit of the system. Here you can add photos from your computer, but you can also go in and use existing photos. So it will load existing photos from your GMBs here, where you can go in and load those again. Then we have an ability to send the post that you made to a GMB to a blogger. And you remember I spoke about this Web 2.0 ring.
Yep.
From the blogger. It will post out that information to all 22, 24, 25, 26 properties that you have had in the ring, which means it's
time management.
Yeah,
complete time management.
Yeah,
perfect.
Then, if you have an image, you can go into the image section here, and then you can go in and optimize the image, where you can put in EXIF data and things like that, which means that you will be able to put in latitude and longitude, which is in relation to your GMB.
Right.
You have the ability to go in and take the information from your map and then insert that into your post as well. You can go in and make driving directions on the map, so you have that information, and then you can pick that URL and put that into. So if I'm taking this URL here, I will just have a map showing this. But if I had a driving direction from one point to the destination of the GMB, it will show that driving directions. You have a spin board, so if you're using spin text, you can go in and post that directly to an event, so you can actually make a lot of posts quite fast. We have an RSS ID generator, so you can put in an RSS feed here, and that will produce information about the contents. And then we have the products, where you can add products to it. We have offers, where you can go in and add offers, and we have events here. Then we have some very, very cool, let's say, go in here. So if you have a post, you can go up in this section here and say, I want to schedule into the future. So if I want a post to be scheduled into April 23rd, I just go up here, pick the time, and then I add the post. And then here in my scheduled post, I will see all the posts that has been scheduled, as you can see here. Here you get all the posts that you have posted to that specific location, and you can go up and click here, and then you can choose other locations, and you can have several manager accounts, so you can go in and have a lot of GMBs which you manage.
Wow. Yeah.
Here,
So awesome stuff.
yeah, and here you, for instance, you have the ability to suck out all those links I was talking about before. So you can go in and grab your live post and the GMB website links, the media links, and then you can do various things about that. You can go in and manage your reviews. So if this business had a review, it will show up here, and you can go in and you can manage your Q&A. You can go in and manage your silos. So that's basically the main part of the GMB, and then we have various tools in the Prof edition where there's a lot of things you can do in addition to just post to your GMB.
Perfect. So what's let's kind of tell people. I want to definitely keep this to our hour that we kind of had here, and we're rolling right up on that. But let's talk a little bit about like what it is that we can do to help people, and what the businesses themselves can do themselves. Because obviously, I know a lot of people are gonna want to try and tackle a couple things by themselves. And what I would recommend personally is, at the very least, go out, we can make sure that you have a Gmail account, that we can at least start the process on claiming your GMB. And if that's something you need Henrik or I to help you out with, definitely reach out via this board here, via YouTube or Facebook or through email or any of that. Reach out to us and let us know what we can do to help you. But definitely be setting up your Google My Business, be setting up your online profiles. Use this time as an opportunity to really enhance your brand, to build your brand, get those assets in place. And if anyone needs pointers on this, feel free to open up a chat with any of us, or with either of us, and we can point you in the right direction for sure. So, what else would you like to add here, Henrik?
We can assist them with a general blueprint or strategy for their online presence, if you like, with the combined knowledge base that we have. It's second to none. So,
sounds great.
So please reach out, and that being YouTube, YouTube ads. Google AdWords, Facebook ads, the production of videos as well. If I can just, before we go here, my wife has a job as a sales manager in a company selling electric wheelchairs. And on Sunday, we did just a live stream with the basic information, how to behave, how the company is looking at how to treat the contact with other people in these Corona times, how they are using, how they all have had the WHO certification in how to treat people or deal with people in these instances. But that information went out, and people were happy because they got confidence that they could call the company and get served in a proper and professional manner. So small things that, when you come to our shop, we have hand sanitizers. So before you go in and touch any of the foods within our food shop, because we're allowed to be open, you have to wear plastic gloves, and you need to use sanitizer and things like that. Information. That's gold in these times.
Absolutely. So don't be stingy with the information. Share it with your consumers.
Your mobile phone will do, or you can ask us to record a more professional video for you if you like.
Outstanding. Cool. Well, I want to say again, thank you for your time today. Thank you to everyone that's been tuned in here and watching this. Really appreciate it. If you have any questions, hit us up on the Facebook group or on our YouTube chat, and we'd be more than happy to help you out here.
Let me just check if we have any questions. There's a question here. Is there any type of business that you would be good to start now?
Any type of business to start now?
Yeah.
In my personal opinion is, if you can always diversify, you can always kind of pivot and shift focus. But my thought is, like, if you're looking at starting a business, being at like a brand new affiliate site and you have no experience in doing that, or if you're having a brand new business, I mean, I think that cleaning, like anything that has to do with cleaning, could potentially be a good business opportunity. However, the thing is that you're kind of jumping in after the fact here. What I would recommend is probably focusing on what your existing business is and pivoting, because we're not going to be in this forever. I think that if you're just looking at starting a new business or starting jumping in right now, I think the momentum's already built and it's already kind of going in this direction of this online thing. What I would focus on is pivot, make sure that you're still focused on your business, because you've been doing it for, potentially years, or this time up until coronavirus hit. I would work on pivoting. And even if you need to take a step back, focus on these brand assets, I would do that and never lose sight of, if you were in business, you were doing fine before coronavirus hit, I would continue focusing on stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily jump into a brand new business.
No, but if you have the qualification, you could maybe
enhance your business with it. Yeah.
Yeah, or have qualifications in how to advise people, how to react in those circumstances, being a business coach or whatever. That
Absolutely.
might be
low cost, start a Facebook group about business coaching, or, accelerated growth. Yeah, those are all great.
Any other questions? Just a second here. Checking Facebook here. So, that's one question from Andrew. I'll put in a link to it here, Andrea. So here we go.
Cool. Thanks for tuning in on this, Andrew.
Otherwise, no.
Yeah.
Not on YouTube.
Take a look at the next one here.
Oh, wait a second. It comes a little bit here. No. Do you think a live stream on FB or WebB would be a better strategy? That could be a strategy. I.e., you could use both channels to expose yourself. And with live stream, if they are advised very well in advance, that will pick up some, what you could call loose traffic anyhow. So definitely.
Yeah, I would focus on, live streaming is wherever you possibly can, and being, don't test it out, see what channel people, resonate with you the most. I really like this StreamYard that you introduced to me here, Henrik, because this allows us to stream to both YouTube and Facebook. And
did we lose?
Oh, I think I'm here.
Okay.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. No, but I think that doing both this StreamYard, what I really like about this particular platform is that you can potentially stream out to YouTube and Facebook and to these multiple channels.
LinkedIn.
Which, LinkedIn. I mean, this is great, and it's a great tool that someone could use to really leverage and promote their brand. Again, it's all about time management. I think having people go multiple places all the time. That's just that tends to be just a lot of busy work. So I think this is another tool. And Andrew, if you need a link, we can drop that in here as well. So
Okay, guys.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Great. Cool. And make sure you sign up on the page. We'll be pushing out some additional videos, resources, and content for anyone that's interested here.
Yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube, like the channel, hit the bell, and then you'll get notification of when we're doing the next one.
Sounds great. Cool. Thanks again for your time today, Henrik. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.